Well, joining us for more insight into today's landmark judgment in the Netherlands is constitutional lawyer and senior advocate of Nigeria, Mike Ozekhome. Thank you for joining us on the News at 10.
Yeah, thank you very much. Welcome, viewers.
Now, the Dutch court pronouncement today that, yes, there was oil spill in some communities in the Niger Delta and ordering that farmers be compensated. What's your take on this?
Yeah, my take is that it's a groundbreaking judgment. It's very good for host communities, as oil-bearing communities, that some lessons must be learned by these multinationals that come to Nigeria, not only to explore oil, but to exploit the people. They stay in ships that float on water, that are like hotels. They do not know what the people go through. They do not know that many of these people drink from the water that they also defecate into. They do not recognize that, like in the ancient mariner, it is water everywhere, not fit enough to drink. They do not care that Nigeria flares about 8 billion cubic feet of gas every year, out of the 150 billion cubic feet of gas that is flared across the world, but that USA, Iraq, Iran, and Russia that flares 45% of this gas have certain inbuilt mechanisms to take care of the devastating effect of this gas flaring. They do not care that gas flaring leads to acid rainfall, that it devastates the environment, agrarian and aquatic. They don't give a damn that the people, since oil was discovered at Oloibiri in 1956, that the people are living below poverty line. It is from that perspective, I personally believe that the judgment by the Court of Appeal at The Hague in Netherlands, in the case of Anglo Royal Dutch Oil Company, against that company and its Nigerian subsidiary, the Share Petroleum Development Company, SPDC, is historic, is epochal, and must be celebrated.
Senior advocate, I mean, this is the Court of Appeal, and there's also the right to approach the Supreme Court. What do you think will happen there? And especially this judgment, what impact do you think it has on the relationship between host communities and oil exploration companies, bearing in mind some of the similar cases we've seen where nothing like compensation was given?
Yeah, let me say that it's a lesson for the oil, these multinationals, that it cannot be business as usual, that there must be corporate responsibility to the oil-bearing communities where they operate and make billions and billions of dollars every year. Yes, they are also entitled to appeal to the Supreme Court in the Netherlands, but let me predict, like Nostradamus, the man who saw tomorrow. Let me predict, like the oracle at Ile-Ife, that gazes into the future to pronounce the next all need to be, that the appeal will be lost because the case is grounded on facts, on figures, not on fairy tale from the Arabian Nights. The case has been on since 2008. Indeed, 2 of the 4 farmers have since died. But it was made clear that this company was responsible for the underground burst pipes that led to oil spillage. The court even went ahead to say, hello, this is not just the judgment. You have a duty to clean up the community, to ensure that you have inbuilt seals for your pipes in a way that they do not burst. So if they appeal, I can assure you that it will be a case that will be won by these poor farmers. And by the way, that is if they appeal. But if they do not appeal, let me tell you how the judgment can be enforced. It it can be enforced in Nigeria here. But the amount, which has not yet been fixed by the court at The Hague, must be changed into the Naira equivalent. They can enforce it through what you call the Foreign Judgments Enforcement Act, Laws of the Federation of Nigeria 2004, particularly sections 2, subsection 1, section 3, subsection 1, and section 10, subsection A of that act. It allows a foreign judgment in a case that has been won to be brought to Nigeria and registered in any high court where the subject matter arose. For example, the subject matter in this case arose from two villages, two towns called Goi and Oruma. And I guess they are in Rivers and Bayelsa State. They can go to the high court there and register the judgment. Then with an affidavit, they have to show in the affidavit that the oil company, the Royal Dutch Oil Company there, and the DPC in Nigeria did actually participate in the proceedings, and they agreed that that court in Netherlands should bind them.
All right.
They will also show that there was no fraud. They must also show that they were served. They must also show that there is no existing appeal or no intention to appeal. It is only the Minister of Justice and Attorney General that can stop such enforcement from being made or from being entered. But he himself must give reasons, because you cannot just stop a litigant from reaping the fruits of his labor. So I think this is a new dawn when new vistas have been opened, where the eyes of the local communities have been opened. It is a punch at the intestines of these multinationals that think Nigeria is simply a land or a no man's land where they can come and reap what they have not sown. It's very good for Nigeria, good for oil-bearing communities, good for the poor people of the Niger Delta that have been at the receiving end. The goose that lays the golden egg, over 75 to 80% of Nigeria's income, which all the states gather at Abuja at the end of every month under Section 162 of the 1999 Constitution to come and share. Right. Many Nigerians do not care how the cake is baked. They only know how the cake is shared.
We'd like to thank you.
That is not how to develop a country.
Senior Advocate of Nigeria, Mike Ozekhome, thank you for joining us on the News at 10.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.